Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Chris Grossi. I'm the Managing Director of Highmetric here in the UK, and I'll be your host for the next 45 minutes as we explore what's new in ServiceNow's New York release for customer service management. For those of you who are unfamiliar with us, Highmetric are a global elite ServiceNow partner who specialize in helping our clients get work done with the ServiceNow platform. It is also my pleasure to introduce our presenter today, Dominic Lewington, who is the UK Director of Solution Consulting here at Highmetric. Dom has been with us for over 10 years and currently works very closely with some of our largest clients, helping them get the most value from their ServiceNow investment. Dom, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I'd just like to extend my welcome, as well as Chris, to our webinar today, where we'll be looking at the New York release, and specifically new features and functions in the customer service management application that sits on top of the ServiceNow platform. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, we might have people on the phone call that are not familiar with CSM, maybe come from an IT service management background. So I'm just going to spend a couple of slides just introducing core CSM concepts, especially from the perspective of ServiceNow. So in effect, CSM is the addition of two core concepts. That's customer engagement, or more traditionally known as CRM, customer relationship management. So customer engagement and service operations, which again is more traditionally known as IT service management or service operations. So those two concepts together add up to the ServiceNow view of customer service management, where we're both managing the engagement with our customers and also helping fulfill requests and resolve issues and manage those interactions between us as a service provider or product support and our end customers. So there's, at a very high level, the core concepts behind CSM as a module that sits on top of the ServiceNow platform. So in terms of enhancements for CSM, new additions to CSM as we go to the New York release, we're talking about three major themes we'll explore today. The concept of end-to-end customer engagement and customer relationship management. We'll look at being rather more proactive in the way that we support our customers, the way we resolve their issues, the way we fulfill their requests. So being proactive is a big piece when it comes to CSM for New York release. In effect, we're looking at integrating together both CSM and also ServiceNow's IT operations management module, which allows us to monitor our customers' installations, the services we offer them, the products they subscribe to make sure we know about any issues they might be having almost before they do, so we can be rather proactive in the way we support them. We're also going to look at self-service. So anyone that came to our ITSM webinar a couple of weeks ago would have seen our demonstration of the service portal with a virtual agent built in. So we'll look at exactly how we can move towards a shift to left model and tier 0 type support using ServiceNow CSM. As Chris mentioned, there are about 678 new features. That's not just bug fixes or anything along those lines, but actually core new features for ServiceNow and the ServiceNow applications within the New York release. We're going to try and concentrate on 4 core headliners for CSM today. But if you have any questions about the other features, don't hesitate to use the chat functionality or put things into the actual webinar client so that Chris and I can discuss those at the end of the webinar and demonstrations. So a question I get asked a lot when I'm talking to our customers and our prospects that might be interested in using CSM to support external customers, but already have an IT platform or an IT service management platform, is how they sit together. What is the relationship between ServiceNow? Well, actually, hopefully this ideogram on the screen will help sort of break out some of those concepts. In effect, the tier 1 interactions with your customers, so that's logging of cases, logging of requests, portals, phone calls, emails, whatever the channel might be, those tier 1 interactions are handled best by CSM. It is a consumer-grade front end for interactions with your customers. Where ITSM comes in, or issue resolution, or service management for issue resolution, as it's called in the CSM suite, is really those tier 2 interactions. So if a case needs to become a problem or an incident or a work order or a change eventually, changing the product or the service or the networks we're supporting, that is really the sweet spot for ITSM. So ITSM you can look at as really looking after the tier 2 type fulfillment and resolution of customer issues, whereas tier 1, CSM, is more involved with managing the interactions with your customer at a tier 0 and a tier 1 type level. As I mentioned, one of the biggest ticket enhancements or new features in New York is this concept of proactive service operations. So you'll notice at the bottom of this image, we have the monitoring pieces. So now with integration between the IT operations management space and CSM, we can automatically create incidents or cases based on an overall understanding of our customer services and our customers' products. So in this way, we can actually start knowing about problems or issues before the customer does. And if the customer does discover an issue, they can see that we're handling it, we know about it, it's affecting this many people, this is the resolution plan, and this is when the issue will be resolved by. So we can get ahead of the curve when we become proactive and integrate ITOM and CSM in New York release of customer service management. So there's some core concepts. And this is something we come across a lot, the relationship between ITSM and CSM and how best to define that and how best to present that to the internal organization and how best to present that to our external customers. Okay, so that is enough on the concepts. So let's jump into some of the new features and run through some demonstrations. So as I mentioned, one of the headlines, proactive customer service operations. This is an integration between traditional monitoring tools and alerting tools and CSM to be proactive in the way we're going to support and service our customers. So core outcomes, we're looking at improving the customer experience. I know it's better when I interact with my service providers like my ISP. If I have an issue with my internet connection and I go to the website, I get a banner saying, yep, we know about the problem, Dom. We can see where it is in your area. This is how many people it's affecting. This is our plan. This is when it will be resolved by. So we're improving that customer experience by becoming proactive and getting ahead of the curve. We're going to reduce the mean time to repair. So, okay, it's one thing to understand, right, we have an issue. The internet connection is slow in your area today, Dom. Actually, to get to the root cause of that and then remediate the issue is the next part in that puzzle. So we can look at reducing our mean time to repair with proactive CSM and especially the integration into some of the ITOM tools. We're looking at reducing ticket load and inbound calls. If we have a situation where we're proactive, we can start with a similarity engine, we can start correlating issues, we can start making major cases, major incidents. We can actually reduce our inbound calls and our inbound caseload. If I go to a service portal to log a ticket, again, using sort of the torture metaphor of my ISP, if I see that sign saying, okay, we know about the issue, this is the plan, this is when it resolved, why, I am much less likely to phone up or to log a call at that point. So we can reduce our inbound calls and our inbound tickets. We're looking at the sort of the paradigm of 2 + 2 = 5, when we're saying bringing the IT side of the organization and the customer service side of the organization together in a collaborative, communicative type way allows us to sort of get more value from our organization from being more joined up. And with all these pieces, we can prevent our major issues. So the major issues, like major incidents in the IT world, are when we have recurring incidents or recurring cases for a particular CI or a particular service, or we have something that's widespread and multi-site or multi-customer. So we can reduce those reputation and image damaging major issues. It's even more important, right? If I'm an IT and I'm supporting my internal customers, okay, if a server goes down for email, that's bad news, right? People are not going to send emails for the next hour. However, if the service I'm offering out to my customers goes down, they might stop paying me. They might remove from my subscription service. It might eventually ultimately damage my reputation as a service provider or a product company. So reputational and bottom line impacting major issues can be reduced using a proactive approach that I'll demonstrate to you now. Okay, so that is the core outcomes from proactive customer service operations. Let's have a look at what that means in reality. So I'm logged in here, and what we're going to do is actually look at Agent Workspace today, because a lot of those enhancements have been made in the workspace area. So I'm going to have a look at my lists. So you can see here, one of the things people notice straight away is agent workspace lists have been extended in New York. More and more ticket types, for want of a better word, are all consolidated into a single view. So I'm going to look at all open alerts. And I'm going to look at an alert of particular interest. There's critical, urgent, that's the CI. And that's the grouping there. So let's open up this alert. So when we're looking at alert management, and we do have a webinar in 2 weeks' time around ITOM, so I won't go into too much detail about the ITOM extension specifically, but this is an alert coming from a traditional event or a monitoring tool. We can see a few things that extend this now for the New York release. For instance, you'll see here on the right-hand side, the agent assist is actually doing a similarity check within all my ticket types to bring back related knowledge base articles, currently open incidents, currently open problems, changes that might be running through to add value to my remediation effort. So that similarity engine that I showed you in ITSM is also front and center when we come to CSM in our ability to pattern match with other tickets and with knowledge to help that remediation effort. We have our timeline, so we can see here if we have an event storm or an alert storm or a major issue or a multi-site issue, we can see the major stepping stones or milestones as that comes from fruition through to resolution. We can see here we've identified the root cause of this piece straight away, and it's highlighted on that timeline view. So some of the orchestration or some of the automation pieces that were traditionally in ITOM are now available also for Agent Workspace. So directly from this particular ticket, I can open up a dependency view. So open that guy up. So we can see where this particular CI sits within the service I'm offering out to my customers. Right there at the bottom. So I can start understanding downstream root cause and upstream impact from a dependency view that used to be front and center within the CMDB module is now been pushed out also so it can be integrated with the CSM Agent Workspace. We can view directly from here the services that have been impacted from this particular automated alert. So that is the business services or the services that have context internally from an IT perspective. But more importantly, what we can see now is our infected or affected install base items. So if I just open up that tab here, we will see that, okay, those business services are the IT context for the underlying alert, but let's see what impact that has on our customers. So you can see here we have various different accounts, customers that have been affected by this particular alert. So this is a multi-customer issue. We need to do something about it. We've also automatically, in terms of execution, as you'll see here, so we have some automation to actually create incidents based on the back of this, created an IT incident based on one of our create incident automation pieces, automation rules. What we really want to do now is actually create a case. Directly from here in a proactive type way. Do customer affecting. We'll give that a save. And here's our case that's come in based on and related to this alert. So we're being proactive now. Something that's come in from our monitoring tool. We've seen it's affected a large number of our customers or accounts. So we've taken the IT incident and we've extended that because we now have a customer-facing issue and created a case on the back of that one. Let's open up our case that we just created. assign that to myself. Okay, so we'll look at the other case there as well. And we can see here one of the other pieces that's come with the New York version of CSM is native integrations with some of the social media tools. So we can actually go out using various different techniques, look at Twitter, look at Facebook Messenger, service customers through Facebook Messenger, and bring back related chats and logs from those tools and actually align them front and center. It's another channel in the omni-channel experience and the way we might actually service our customers as well through the social channel. So that is an integration there. It's now out of the box as a spoke for Facebook Messenger, also gives us the ability to use other social tools, other channels to interact with customers who might prefer that approach to the way they interact with their service providers and the way they want their products supported. Okay, so that's proactive customer service operations. Let's look at the omni-channel experience. So I started alluding to this. So as well as the ability to support things like chat, things like email, things like IVR or telephonic type integrations, we also have now the social side of life where we can interact with things like I mentioned as Facebook Messenger, Twitter and so forth to actually support our customers down those channels as well. So those have been added to the various different channels as they're described, growing that omni-channel experience that ServiceNow promotes when we're dealing with our external customers. So what does that mean? Well, to start with, it means we can start doing things like facilitating consistency across all those channels. The way we interact, our brand, the way it's represented out to our customers will be consistent, whether it comes through an email, a social message, whatever the channel might be. We're also talking about increasing the agent efficiency. So rather than having to handwrite notes or say, hey, yeah, I'm working on your issue, we can provide them with snippets for emails and chat and social channels, canned messages that allow them to very quickly send the sort of notification type messages that would be core through a case or incident resolution, things like, yeah, we are working on this. Hey, can I have some more information? Hey, yeah, your issue is now resolved. Please try again. So we can increase agent efficiency and allow them to concentrate on the actual fulfillment or resolution of an issue rather than the communication with the customer at the various different points in a case lifecycle. We talked about the enhanced channel capabilities, especially around social medias and specifically the Facebook Messenger spoke that's brand new in New York CSM. Okay, so let's have a look at what that omni-channel experience looks like. Okay, so let's go from our case that we have open here and actually go around to working through some of the channel pieces. So I'm just going to change So it's worth pointing out that although we have moved towards the agent workspace as the preferred portal or interaction point from a fulfiller or a resolver or a requester type perspective, but we also have the traditional platform view. So I can, as John here, go and see the cases from the platform view. So we can see here the one we just created. One of the pieces to be aware of that was added in Madrid, or at least early adopters tested in Madrid, is this concept of action status that allows us as technicians or as agents to understand which of the cases, which of the tickets needs working on. And it can have various different action statuses. I've got two here just for the demonstration purposes. We can see our cases that need attention, and we can see the cases that are blocked internally. Obviously, there's blocked externally, and lots of different statuses that allow us to understand in a multi-case, multi-incident, multi-ticket world, which of these tickets needs the most attention and which we need to start working on first. So let me just open up my case. So again, I'm looking at this as a traditional platform view, just from a change to the agent workspace, but it's exactly the same functionality in agent workspace to actually create messages directly from here. So you see the information is pulled across from the case, but more importantly, we can provide quick message templates to our agents so we can handle the interaction with our customers in a consistent, brand-aware type way. So I've got a few from a demonstration here. So things like a praise email, for argument's sake, things like still investigating, and you'll notice again that this will pull information from my logged in user, so it'll actually add, in this particular instance, it'll add my email signature as well. So we can provide these canned messages, these quick messages, to ensure that the way we interact with our customers is consistent, on brand, and frees up our agents' time so they can actually concentrate on the fulfillment of requests and the resolution of the incidents. Okay. Let me just move across again to the inbox function within Agent Workspace. I'm going to put myself available. So now with the inbox functionality within Agent Workspace that was there in Madrid, started in London, has been enhanced in New York to again be that one-stop shop, that inbox that can have things like chat messages, things like cases. As you can see here, I've got my multi-customer affecting ticket that came in earlier, incidents, alerts. You can use your inbox to manage these tickets in a slightly different way, all mixed together, and you can prioritize which types you want to see in which order. So this inbox concept is something ServiceNow are very much getting behind, and something that's been growing and will continue to grow as we go through the different versions over the next few years. Okay, so let me just change across to a customer persona. So I'm logged in here as Julie. So Julie Lewis in this particular example is one of our customers, and what she wants to do is she wants to interact with let's get a quick refresh. Okay, so we'll look at the, in the last demonstration today, we'll look at the new virtual agent conversations for case and how they can help us with that shift left tier zero type approach to customer support in reducing our ticket load. But Julie today wants to talk to John directly, or to us directly as a service provider, using the chat. So now the ability to move between the virtual agent and live agent support is even more seamless, both from a fulfiller or an agent perspective, but also for a customer perspective as well. So I can say live agent support. And we can see that chat appearing in my inbox here. So it's come through from Julie Lewis of Boxio. I can accept that. We'll open up the new chat interface from the agent's perspective. So lots of different pieces we can do now in terms of the interaction management, as it's called. Not only can I chat away, as you'd imagine, in the chat channel, but I can look at things like verifying the contact. So if I just quickly check that I'm talking to someone who is supporting, I can bring up Julie's profile. I can see Julie's company's profile, their entitlements, which products we own, our CSAT with them, our relationship with them, which gives me lots of context for the way I should be engaging with Julie. But really, the magic sauce here now is the notation for bringing those quick messages that we had in email across the chat using the / notation. So we can set up chat snippets just as we can set up quick messages for emails. So for instance, I can say /r and bring back those chat snippets for actually interacting with Julie in the way we want our agents to interact as a company. and that will come through. So you can see there, Julie is now chatting with John. We can also use that slash notation to transfer to a queue, picking the queue that we want to go through. So Julie's query looks like it's related to billing support. So let's transfer Julie across to the billing support queue. We can see that that will appear on Julie's screen to show that she has been transferred to billing support. So that interaction between our agents and the customers has been grown in New York through the chat piece. The handoff between virtual agent and real chat, real fulfiller, real agent has been made even more seamless. And the ability to can responses using the / notation allows us to manage those interactions from a brand and a reputational perspective, just as we can do with the quick message snippets through the inbound and outbound email channel. So that in effect is a big enhancement in terms of the growth of omni-channel support, more social, better control over the way our agents interact with our customers as a headline from the omni-channel enhancements. Right, let's go back and look at the next piece. So case digests. So this is the ability to, after maybe a major case or a case that has a contractual relationship with a customer that requires periodic reviews, or maybe our reputation is damaged with that customer, they're thinking of leaving us. So we've actioned post-case reviews to try and save our relationship. But long story short, we now have the ability to review a resolved case, put that into a handy digest, and provide that for our executives on the customer side to review offline or through the portal, or be emailed directly to them in a type of white glove type of support model. So core outcomes and benefits to us as a service provider: improved coordination between us, our management team, our customers and their management team; improving the customer experience once again, which obviously is front and center with CSM; mitigate recurring issues. Understanding why something is broken, why we've had a case, is just as important as resolving that case. Because next time that particular issue comes round again, we'll have the knowledge and the tools to be able to actually resolve them more quickly, or even better, be proactive about it and stop it happening in the first place. Getting executive buy-in from the customer side, and they're not probably worried too much about the minutiae of each individual case, but if we can give them a rolled up case digest as part of our service provider or managed service reporting pack once a month, once a quarter, that would be very useful in terms of having a relationship with our customer senior executives. It also gives us a single UI of action. So rather than having to swap to another tool or to email or to instant messaging outside of ServiceNow, we can actually manage that relationship in terms of reviewing cases and publishing them to our execs and our customers directly through the agent workspace, directly through ServiceNow. Okay, so let's have a look at what that looks like in reality. Okay, so let me just go back to the case we've been using for this demonstration. I'll just change that to B. Has a different responsibility and relationship to these cases we're managing for our customers. Let's go and have a look at the ticket for the agent workspace. Let's have a look at the cases list. So what we're going to do first is we're going to propose a solution to this particular issue. We've provided a workaround this time around. We've rebooted the router, and now allow us to propose a solution back to, and not forgetting obviously this case covers more than one customer, so using the targeted comms part of ServiceNow CSM, we can actually push this out to multiple customers at the same time. So let's propose that solution to all those different customers. I just need to fill in the mandatory fields, resolution notes. Okay, so now we see that's in a resolved state. Myself as a CSA, Customer Service Agent Manager, can actually do or create a post-case review. So let's do that now. So this is going to be based on that case that affected those 8 different install bases. I'm going to do this more quickly than you would want to do in real life. So let's just summarize. So CSM webinar. So you've got to, well, you have the ability to summarize a case or a bunch of cases, overall symptoms, things like the root cause analysis and solution provided are all sucked back directly from the case itself to reduce keystrokes and to improve the agent experience. Okay, so that in effect, and again, this can be support rich text, HTML, templates, branding. So when you publish it to your customers, again, you are having that or keeping that consistency between the channels. So I'm going to request approval. Each post-case review needs to be approved by someone. Typical role would be maybe the account manager for a particular customer, a major case manager, whatever it might be, but it needs to have an approval step between my draft and its publication to a widespread amount of customers, of accounts. Let's request approval. Okay, so let me just have a look at that. Here it is in the platform view. So I'm going to review it. Everything seems fairly innocuous here. So I'm going to either suggest changes, preview, approve, but for the benefit of brevity, I'm just going to approve this guy. Okay, that's created my PDF. So now if I go back to the case itself, need to give that a, so now it's been approved by myself. I've decided I'm ready to publish it to those 8 different install bases as if 8 different accounts. And we can see now in the activity stream, it's been automatically attached to the case that's managing that alert that was covering those install bases. So I can now, as a customer, I can just download that directly, have it emailed to me, or open it up as a PDF document. So that is a quick summary of post-case digests or post-case reviews, the ability for me as a customer service agent or a manager, an account manager, to do a review of a singular major case or a roll-up of cases over the month or over the quarter, consolidate those into a single review document, publish that document, calling into our brand to the customers who require it as part of their contract or as part of the customer experience we are delivering to them. So that in effect is post-case digests, post-case reviews. So the CSM virtual agent, we looked at this briefly earlier on. The headline here is case management. CSM in New York has a bunch of new conversations automatically out of the box are available when you install the virtual agent, centered around common tier 0, tier 1 type interactions with our customers around things like orders, products, and services. So advantages of these, well, they are quite similar to some of the advantages, obviously, of the ITSM conversations that we mentioned in our previous webinar. We're talking about things like conversational interfaces, moving away from traditional web portals, service portals, to a conversational interface I can run through my phone, run through my tablet, native mobile phone applications, native desktop applications, and moving away from a click-through type portal to that more modern paradigm of the conversational interface. It can be, as just alluded to, anywhere VA access with the now mobile application and the equivalent CSM version. I can have the power of this virtual agent, of this conversation interface right in my hand with a native mobile app that supports swipe, pinch to zoom, camera, all those key features that you would expect a native mobile app to support. context and intent, using modern pattern matching and machine learning type approaches, I can actually start understanding if my customer is angry, if my customer is irritated or has a specific emotion when they're engaging with me as a virtual agent, and that gives context and intent to the conversation I'm having with them. Accelerated issue resolution by shift left and making sure self-service is promoted through the service portal, through all those channels that we've just discussed. So some core, powerful, compelling outcomes to consider deploying a virtual agent either through your service portal or through the native Now mobile app. So let's have a look at what that looks like. Start this conversation again. Again, I'm logged in as Julie Lewis, one of our customers. So this is a good summary of some of the newer CSM conversations that were launched in New York for the virtual agent. Things like checking case status, getting help with products, orders, help with my bill. Like I said, that fairly seamless transition between the virtual agent and the live support agent. And also, one of the major enhancements for CSM VA in New York is the ability to do CSAT or satisfaction surveys directly through the VA interface, which are in a conversational type way, which I'll show you slightly later on. Okay, let's look at it context and intent, and actually use the natural language understanding and processing to get some help with an order that I have open. So an order status. Okay, so I've got two open orders as Boxio, who are one of my customers. So let's check order 03. So not only are we having that one-step conversation, but we're having the next step into that conversation. I'm not just presenting the order ticket back to the customer as a summary. I'm saying, okay, there's your order ticket. What do you want to do next? Do you want to add a work note? Do you want to query? Do you want to update the priority? Whatever it might be. So I'm going to say it's overdue. And on the back of that, the virtual agent has automatically created an order case or a case of type order to actually track my issue with this overdue order from the service provider as a customer box. Yeah. Here I can add a comment. Which is again the next hop, the next step in this conversational piece. I've not only checked the status of an order, I have created a case that's overdue, and I've added a work note or a comment to that case saying, right, this is very overdue, we need to start working on this now. Okay, I'm done with that one. And one of the things that I'm particularly excited about in the New York release is this ability to survey or take a thermometer check on my relationship with a customer directly through the VA conversational piece. So I can go here, provide some feedback. It's nice and super simple. I can check exactly how well I've been dealt with today. So let's give this a good smiley face, because I'm happy with the way the virtual agent very quickly created that case and allowed me to add a work note or a comment to it. Okay, that takes us pretty much to the end of today's session. So we've looked at what's new, or the headline new features and enhancements for CSM in the New York release. We've looked at being more proactive in our service operations. We've looked at expanding the omni-channel experience and adding social into the mix. We've looked at creating case digests to do post-case reviews and add value to our service reporting or case reporting back to our VIP customers. And we've looked at the expansion of some of the VA conversations in New York, and also the ability now to action survey management or temperature checks, CSAT pieces directly through that virtual agent conversational interface. So that was pretty much everything for today. We will take some questions in a second, but just before we do, we do have another webinar coming up on the 22nd of October, which we run by my colleague Derek, and he will be looking with you at the ITOM enhancements in New York. And we'll also be, as a company, as Highmetric, be at the Now at Work London event in the Excel Centre on the 17th of October. So if you do have any further questions or deep dive technical questions, or want me to show you something again, or dive more deeply into a particular feature of New York, or any of the modules that we have looked at in the last few days, please do come and see us. There's also in the handout section of the webinar client a couple of documents around upgrade best practices and some of the things to be aware of in New York, so please do use those as you see fit. Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention today. Chris, do you want to come back on the line to see if we have any questions that we need to discuss?
Sure. Thanks, Dom. We do have one or two questions here. So first question is just around, I guess, what is our take, or what is Highmetric's take on the major advantages of integrating customer service management and ITOM?
Okay, so that's a really, really good question. I think the answer is twofold and from two different perspectives. From a customer experience perspective, it's that ability to be much more proactive. So taking away that reactive paradigm and actually finding out issues, hopefully before even they manifest to the customer. And if they do, at least let the customer, we know about it, we're working on it, this is a plan, this is going to be resolved by, this is the affected areas. So from a customer's perspective, the ability to be proactive. From a service provider or the outsourcer or the managed service provider or the product company's perspective, it is that syncing up or that collaboration drive between the IT and the operations side of the business and the business or the customer service management side of the organization as well. So that sort of 2 + 2 = 5 paradigm, bringing those two organizations closer together, drives efficiencies, drives a strong brand, and ensures we have the highest possible reputation in our space. So a twofold answer, Chris.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. We do have time for one more. So this question's somebody's asking just about the implementation. So they recently implemented CSM with another partner, and they used something called the Smart Launch. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but basically they said it was kind of left them a bit missing the mark on the value. So how would we recommend implementing, for our customers? Let's say you're new or already have it. What would be our steps?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So there are time and a place for these quick start type approaches, sort of spinning up time to value type approaches. But in this particular instance, because CSM is so reputational and so much a part of the brand and the way we present ourselves to the marketplace and our customers, I think you've got to look at it from that perspective, rather than IT or operations driving the design, the use cases, the stories for a deployment. It should come from the business side, even marketing, people like that need to be in charge of the way we interact with our customers. So the advantage of a quick start or a smart launch, I think the term you use there, is you probably at least have the basis of the platform in place, working inbound email portals and so forth. So you're not in a bad state. I would take that as a foundation, which is what it's really meant to be, and then sit down and run through some sim pieces again in terms of actually running the workshops, but run the workshops with the business, not with IT and not with operations, to understand the use cases from the organizational perspective, and then start building out those use cases on the platform or the foundations of that quick start put in place for you. So it's not a major re-engineer. You don't need to start again. Use that as your foundation. Get the use cases from the business perspective and start building those out in a sensible manner on top of that foundation, Chris.
Cool. Thanks, Dom. And yeah, I think I could say I personally talked to a bunch of customers who have had that kind of experience, and we wind up going in and working with you. So we can definitely help in that area. It's something we can follow up with afterwards. Cool. I think that's it for today. Dom, thank you very much, and thank you for everyone on the line. Please be sure to join us in our next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.